Welcome to Business Talk, our weekly University of Rio Grande OSU South Center's podcast show. We are here at the University of Rio Grande TV studio. Not only are we doing live internet radio through Blog Talk Radio, but we are also live on Jackson Educational Access Channel and Channel 17 University of Rio Grande TV. Our podcasts are archived and placed on YouTube for your viewing and listening again. Our mission is simple: to promote the University of Rio Grande and its many diverse educational programs, to promote the Ohio State University South Centers and its many business technology programs, and finally promote Southern Ohio, a great place to live, learn, and enjoy life to its fullest. I'm Jason Winters, Director of the Center for Small Business Entrepreneurship, and with me is Mike Thompson, Instructional Design and Media Services Director, and we're both with the University of Rio Grande. Also behind the scenes, behind the camera today, we have Patrick Dengel, Business Development Specialist, and Kimberly Roush, who could not be here with us today but is joining us in spirit, a program assistant, and they're both with the Ohio State University South Centers. On special assignment this week is our MBA student, Nate Walzer. Nate, I'm sure, would love to be here, but we have him somewhere.
He's in a war zone.
That's right. We've got him hidden somewhere secure, but I'm sure he's listening. Hi, Nate. Today we have a very special guest with us, our Chief of Police here at the University of Rio Grande, Scott Borden. Scott, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Jason. Mike, Doctor.
What we'd like to do, if you would, Scott, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, what your background is, and how you ended up at the University of Rio Grande.
Well, I went to high school around Springfield, Ohio. 3 months out of high school, started the Ohio State Highway Patrol. Went to the Xenia Post as a radio dispatcher. Went to the State Highway Patrol Academy. Started as a career and ended up being a 33-year career. Stationed as a trooper in the Portsmouth Post for 14 years. Was a sergeant at the Portsmouth Post, post commander, lieutenant at the Lebanon Post, and assistant district commander at the Jackson Post for the last 10 years. Been police chief here at Rio Grande for about 15 months now. Really like it, like dealing with the kids, the faculty, trying to keep everybody safe. Have a wife who works in Jackson of 23 years. She is very active in the community down there. Have a son who's actually a student here in his third year. I'll probably do a bragging dad for a minute thing here, but he was on Oak Hill's state championship basketball team a couple years ago and did well there and very proud of him.
Fantastic. Since we're bragging a little bit, Pat, today I got a few more gray hairs. My oldest got his driver's license today.
Wow.
Passed his test, and so he is officially legal on the roads.
Should we worry? Should I clear off the road?
The only thing I'm worried about is my pocketbook going down because insurance rates are outrageous.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so,
No doubt.
I guess we all get younger, right?
Yeah.
So, Scott, you've been here 15 months. Was it what you thought it was going to be?
I mean, it's a different world than what I was in. I mean, the State Patrol, you deal with the prison systems. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that, just in this, when I was at Jackson District Headquarters, we dealt with 5 prisons. You've got that extreme criminal element that you deal with all the time, plus, the tragedies of, traffic crashes and stuff like that. Some of it's somewhat similar because, when you're in the State Patrol, your main goal is to keep people safe. You mentioned your child, right. Getting ready to drive. One of our missions is to make sure that they're as safe as possible when, when they're on the road. And, some of that carries over to this because my mission here is to keep everybody safe. It's a little bit more refreshing dealing with the kids and the people here because you don't, like I said, you don't have that extreme criminal element, and people choose to be here and want to be safe. So that's the enjoyable part if you can keep them safe.
Mm-hmm. And you got some wonderful officers working with you here at the university.
We do. Right now we really have a good crew. We've got one retired trooper that came over with me, a couple of mature guys. All of them do a good job. The one thing that I demand from them that I brought over from the State Patrol was that they're going to treat the kids and the faculty and the staff here with dignity and respect, and they will act professional. And I think over the last year or so, that's really been a good thing. And there's been some, I don't know if you'd use the word bonding, but there's been more of a bonding between the officers and the students and the faculty.
Well, here at the university, I know we have a lot of faculty and students that are taking night classes, and it's really refreshing to be able to see your officers out in the evenings.
Well, and that's one of the things you carry over. I mean, you learn from where you came from. And the stuff I brought from the State Patrol is to treat people with dignity and respect and be professional. And, you know, when you drive the road, you see troopers all over the place. You see them sitting in the median. And the thing we always try to do is keep them out, because if you're sitting in the median doing your paperwork as opposed to sitting on the patrol post, your hope is someone slows down, someone doesn't pull out in front of somebody. And my goal here is to not have these guys sitting on station, to have them out into the dorms, walking around campus, so that if someone bad does show up, they see our people and hopefully they'll move on. Or plus, it gives a greater sense of comfort to the students and the faculty.
I doubt it was on purpose, but this is National Police Week. So,
I didn't know that.
happy week for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pat knew that. That's why he scheduled it this week, didn't you, Pat?
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure he knew that.
Yeah, right.
Scott, one of the things you wanted to talk about was the 5-step process of protecting the classroom. How do you protect a classroom?
Well, sort of first to tell you how we got here. Since 1991, there's been 22 shootings just on college campuses. Mm-hmm. We always turn on the news and you see it, high schools and stuff, but that number of 22 shootings just actually on college campuses, and there's been a lot over the last, couple years. And there's been 88 deaths in those shootings, which obviously one is too many, but 88 is astounding. And, unfortunately, the big one was in 2007 at Virginia Tech, where 33 persons lost their life. But that's how we got to where we're starting to get kids to maybe do some things where they're just not a victim. So that's how we got here. The thing that I would throw out, that I throw out to all the kids is, that worst case scenario day that we all have where someone shows up with a weapon, and our goal is to make you survive that so that you can, obviously go on with your life. I mean, you didn't come to college to have somebody show up and, take your life away from you. So the first tip that we tell them is the first thing you have to do is determine, is it a hostage situation or is it an active shooter? Because there's a distinct difference between the two. A hostage taker is if you have a classroom full of 30 kids and a doctor in there, and a guy busts into the room and says, everybody, stay calm, I want this and this is what I want, and if I get this, everybody's going to be okay. Something like that, you need to basically play it out a little bit. Follow the instructions they give you. Don't make loud noises, annoying, anything. Do what the guy tells you, because he's not harmed anybody. The worst case scenario is the active shooter, and we will all know what an active shooter is, unfortunately. You will hear boom, 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 boom. You'll hear screaming, yelling, panic. And at that point, typically there's no turning back for the bad guy. Once he's come in, he's fired a few shots, he's shot and hurt some people, they're typically not going to throw their hands up and say, well, I'm done. So you have to start taking steps to survive that incident, and that's the 5 steps that we talk about. Step number 1 is to get out. Common sense. If you hear shooting down the hallway, if you're not in the building, they can't shoot you. It's very common sense. Get out, get away from the situation. If you're in one of these buildings, you hear shooting, get out the door, run as fast and hard as you can. If you hear shots coming your way, duck down, but get as far away as you can, as fast as you can. The thing you want to do once you get out, and going back to that, if you're in a classroom, jump out a window, get out a window. The big thing is you just want to get away from the building if you know it's really bad, because if you get away, the guy can't hurt you. The thing you want to do once you get away is you want to call the police and let them know, call 911 and let them know what's going on, and give them as much information as you can. It doesn't hurt when you call and say, hey, there's a guy shooting in Wood Hall or something. I mean, that alerts the police, but when you can tell them the shots were coming from the second floor, to give a description of the guy, what he was wearing, did he have a rifle, did he have a shotgun, did he have a pistol, so that the police know when they're coming what they're looking for. I mean, if a guy's got an assault weapon or a rifle, the police officers coming know that there's a greater distance of danger for them, that the guy could be standing and shooting him from a long distance, where if he's got a pistol, that gets cut down. So give as much information as you can and stay calm. You just want me to go through the steps? Or?
Yes, please.
Okay. Like I said, first one to get out. Second step is to get down. And that means you hunker down and you barricade. You can't get out of the building. You're in your classroom, you come out, you see that there are guys in the hallway, there's people running. The best thing to do is lock yourself in a closet, lock yourself in a room. I go around the school all during the beginning of each semester and talk to the kids and stuff. Is if you're in a classroom, shut that door, lock it if you can, barricade it, turn the lights off, turn the cell phones off, to ring, of course. If you've got a little window, take some paper, cover it up, because your goal is, and this isn't a good topic to talk about when you're talking about hurting, people and stuff, is the reality of it is once that guy fires his first shot, he knows that the police are coming. So
He's in, whether it's 1 or 30.
1 or 30, and his goal probably is to do as much damage as he can until the cops get here. So your goal as administrators and professors and doctors and educators, and the kids' goals, is once that clock starts running, you need to stall and be safe as long as you can while that clock is running until the cops get here.
And a lot of people, I'm not sure if they know it, but I think the faculty do, that we have put like door stops. And it's not just to keep the doors open, to stop them open, it's to keep them shut if something would happen.
Well, and that's the number one tool. If you can keep that guy from getting in, he's going to move on traditionally, because he knows that clock's. Most of these school shootings, believe it or not, are about a 4 to 5 minute incident. Virginia Tech was actually 9 minutes, where when you remember watching on TV, it just seemed like, went on and on and on.
Yeah, the clock slows down when something happens.
But
and when you call the police, it's never fast enough.
But from first shot to last shot was 9 minutes, and he fired 174 rounds in 9 minutes. So obviously the goal of some of these people is to cause as much damage as you can. So if you can lock your room, barricade it, make sure nobody can get in, the theory and the goal is hope that he'll go on to another room. He doesn't have time to spend 3 minutes trying to get into your room, so have him move on. So that's the next step, is to get down, barricade yourself. Closets are great. One thing you want to try to avoid is obviously you don't want to get into a restroom where there's not a door that can lock, because you have no escape. A guy comes in there, you're there. So try to get into a room that can lock, or you can hide. If you get caught in the hallway, zigzag. Just don't make yourself an easy target. You want to do everything you can to frustrate this guy and make that clock run. The third of the 5 scenarios is, to play dead, to hide out and lay out. That's a personal decision, like all these things are. Sometimes that's going to work and sometimes it isn't. It just depends on every situation. The fourth scenario, that it's supposed to be a last resort, and all of these things, especially this fourth one, is a personal decision, because we tell the kids, you as a police officer or anything, you cannot sit here and tell you what your reaction is going to be if that happens, what you should do, because every instance is going to be different. But what's some of the philosophy is fighting back now, which sort of started on that Flight 93, where people fought back and took the plane back. What we're saying as a last resort, worst case scenario, that you're in trouble. Because worst case is, for everybody, is you're the first classroom. Guy bursts through the door, starts shooting. You can't get out. You can't get down. Third option, you can play dead. If the guy shoots everybody, that's not going to work. It may work. So the fourth option is to do something. And that may be as simple as throwing your books at them, throwing your bottle of water at them, throw your pop at them, throw your cell phones at them. Do anything to distract him and hopefully make him decide, you know what, I want to go to a different room, or that you incapacitate him. We've talked about before and some other things that, you may sit there and think, I can't do anything. What am I going to do against this big guy that's got a gun and stuff? Throwing these things distract him and stuff. The shooting that was in Arizona with Congresswoman Gifford back in January in Arizona, guy shot 9-10 people. He had 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 more clips. I mean, he had plenty of ammo left. A passerby threw a metal chair at him. 61-year-old man grabbed the clip that he was trying to load and laid on it, and a 74-year-old man tackled him. So no matter what your age or size or anything, it's sometimes you get to the point where and that's what we're trying to get kids to think of, is when you hit desperation and there's nothing else to do, is to fight back and not just
and another thing, when you're in the room, you don't want to be in the line of fire. You don't want to be the first person you see when you open the door. So you want to go around corners. And
that's a great point. When I do it in a classroom and I can show the kids this stuff, is, we talk about barricading the door and covering the glass, and that is to look, if someone fires through the door or they fire through the glass, where are the bullets going to go? Go to the other side of the room.
Mm-hmm. Just or on the same wall as the
same wall, and just hope the guy fires a few and he moves on. The fifth step is the one that we're trying to discourage, is you do absolutely nothing. You just sit there and become a victim. And we're talking extreme cases here. We're talking when guys in the room shooting everybody. We just want kids to start thinking, I got to do something. I'm just not going to sit here and let the guy walk up and shoot me. I'm going to do something. And that's what the hope, by talking to kids about this stuff, that if it's nothing more than throwing books and trying and stuff, that'll help. Last thing on that topic is what we tell people: once you survived this, the shooting's over, the guy's shot himself, the guy has been shot, incapacitated or anything, is the police are going to come. They're going to go directly to the threat, and that's actually what the process is called now, is direct to threat. Because in the past, police used to surround the building with overwhelming force. Containment, perfect word, containment. So the bad guy wouldn't get out of the building and out into the community. But now they go direct to the threat. State Patrol started teaching this in Ohio several years ago. They've gone all over the state showing police officers and stuff how to do it. They're actually going to come out here sometime in August, and we're going to have a county-wide training. But when the police get to the scene from now on, they're going to go directly to the sound of the gunfire. And what you need to do is, if you're a victim and survived this, you need to hunker down and stay hunkered down, because once all the shooting stops and all that, the last thing you want to do is run out and say, hey, because the guy could still be out there. Plus, you've got police who are pretty high tense coming in. So best thing to do is just stay wherever you're at. If you're locked in a closet, if you're locked in a classroom, the police will come and get you. They won't leave you there for the rest of your lives. They will come and get you.
Sit still and wait for instruction.
Stay still, wait for instruction.
Don't do anything unless they told you to do
nothing. And when they come in the room, you just put your hands up, just stay calm. They'll get you out of there. Another thing that happens, and it seems like common sense, is say the guy becomes incapacitated in your room. You've thrown books out, you knocked him out, he's been shot, whatever. If someone goes and grabs the gun and they hold it up and the cops come in and you're holding the gun and stuff. So stay away from the weapon, kick it away, but just stay put and they'll get you out of there. So
I guess another thing too is awareness as far as keeping yourself safe. Without having when you're walking across campus or whatever, don't have your nose stuck in your phone, texting and all that. Look around, see what's around you, who's around you. We've had people break limbs going downstairs with their nose stuck in their phone, So take a break, stop. Not only is driving hazardous when you're texting, but walking is too, believe it or not.
Walking is.
But after a lot of these shootings, you hear people talking about, yeah, he was a little strange. I kind of saw that coming. Is there anything, as you know, like I said about situational awareness, if you're aware that somebody's not well screwed together, should they come talk to you, or do you put them on a list? Or
most campuses now, especially since Virginia Tech, have a campus authority threat team where they talk about issues. They meet periodically. I don't want to get too in depth into it, but
I'm just looking at what the student is.
Yeah, obviously they can report it to me at the police station, and there's various ways you can call, come in. There's an anonymous tip line. There's a dean of students. I mean, there's several avenues. The the nurse, and we get things like that quite often where kids are talking about hurting themselves or hurting others, and we immediately talk to them and go to them, and luckily most of the time it's just they're seeking help, and that's what you want. But you're absolutely right. I mean, being aware, that's one of the topics, probably the next topic that was on there is being aware. I mean, if you're walking around with your head and you're texting and stuff, and there's a bad guy following you, I mean, you need to look around and see what's around you. One of the things we talk about awareness in classrooms is when you go sit in a classroom, take 10 or 15 seconds to look around and think, if something really bad happened today, what would I do? Where would I go? Would I be able to get out this window? Where am I at the door? And
that would go for a lot of different things, whether it is a shooter or a tornado or an earthquake. Just look around and see, okay, what am I going to do in these kind of situations?
Absolutely. You look at, I still, as a police officer, when I go to a restaurant, I sit with, police officers don't have their back to the doors, and we just, I know it sounds terrible, but you go to these classes and you talk to kids and you say, well, as soon as you sit down, just look around and see if something bad happens, what you would do.
Yeah, you want to see that guy coming through those swinging doors.
You want to see it, and you hate
and then listen for the piano guy to stop playing.
Yeah. I mean, you hate to have kids have to think about that, but anymore, you really, something you have to.
Well, Scott, those are 5 wonderful steps that all of our students need to know. How are we educating our students? Is that something that we do for all students as part of the orientation process?
I have actually. I talked to Mike's class. I go to all the
freshman success
classes and give them about an hour, 30 minutes, an hour spiel on this, probably in more detail. And it's good when you can do it visually and you can show them and talk to them a little bit, in depth, and tell them step by step how Virginia Tech happened and step by step how Columbine happened, and I think Mike will tell you they pretty much pay attention. I mean, it starts out, uncomfortable, but by the end of it, I think they realize it's an important topic. Some of the systems we have on campus is, we've got the Nixle emergency texting system. I encourage every Rio Grande student to get that.
And unlike maybe some of the schools in the area, the public schools, I think maybe you or the dean of students tells people to leave their phones on. I mean, you might put them on silent, but so you could get a text message. So, it's not wrong here to have your phone with you and on. We just like to have it on silent so you're not disrupting the class.
For those of our listeners who heard Nixle, that is an emergency response system that's actually sent out by text message and also emails for a lot of our listeners who may not know that. And some of our students that may not know it and want to join, it's a wonderful program, and I'm sure they can contact your office and you can help them on.
We're actually now when
if the roads are closed, if the school is closed.
I get county updates constantly. Yeah.
What we're doing now is the freshman orientations, we're actually signing them up. I think we had 92 freshmen, and we had like 65 get signed up.
That's good.
So we sit down there with a computer and do it with them.
Because it's not really a cut and dried process. Once you make an account, you're not done. You have to subscribe to the feeds you want. I mean, you may want to know what's happening in Chicago, but what's important is the County Sheriff Department and maybe the Highway Patrol or something.
And our secretary actually sits down with them and does it. We also have a siren too that we do a drill a couple times a year. So if there was an active shooter, there's a specific type of siren which you can get on our website. The students can get on the website, go to campus security and they can sort of hit their way till they get to what the different type of sirens are. And
Mike, can you tell the different sirens? I put you
Some
on the
of
spot.
them.
Can you?
I know. I know all clear.
I have to admit, I have some problem telling the difference between some of the sirens. So
Yeah.
I'm going to have to study that a little better.
And the tornado. I've heard that several times. It's just a long wail.
Well, and you brought up a great point earlier, is that when we do these drills, I mean, you can't really do a full-scale scare everybody drill, but, in April we do a tornado drill, and my goal is to twice a year each semester do the active shooter drill, is that when you're sitting in a classroom, instead of thinking, you know what, this is 5 minutes, I don't have to pay attention, that's when you think about, I recognize that sound, and what would I do right now if there was a tornado, and what would I do if there was a shooting, and just utilize that. That's what they're for. So.
We kind of touched on this, the safety awareness, but the other part is common sense. I know years ago, I'm just a small town boy. I was raised in Wellston, and we felt pretty safe. And that's kind of how we feel here in Rio Grande. But I know when I went to college, I went to the city. I went to Columbus, and it was a different world. And you really did have to employ a lot of common sense tactics to be safe.
And there's even common sense stuff you have to pay attention to here. Like we had a big rain a while back, and I've talked to 2 students that drove their car into water thinking they'd get through, and they flooded both of them.
But I think sometimes here we get a little too lax. We think, well, that can't happen here. So, we don't
that
employ
always
common
happens
sense.
in the big city.
So we walk across campus at night by ourselves, or, common sense is important.
Things have happened here, and there's weirdos everywhere.
Well, and that's the perfect point, is you get complacent because you start knowing all the kids. I mean, it's the middle of the semester, you know everybody and everything. Mm-hmm. The problem is when people come from outside the campus. That's the thing that worries me the most.
And we do have those people that come into the library, and just community people that can come to the gym and all these different places.
Thieves passing through the area, criminals passing through the area. Several of the schools I've been to with security people all over the country, that's the thing that they say they can't train for. You can train for all these scenarios, but a domestic that rolls into your campus, or a downtown Gallipolis, there's a bank robbery and they chase him and the guy dumps his car and he runs on campus. Things that you can't control. I mean, we can do all the training and stuff, drills and all that, but that's the things. And that's where you got to become aware of things. If is something wrong, is there, not be looking at your text
and leaving your stuff around. Either, say like people that go to the gym, if you leave your pants, when you go change, if you got your phone or your wallet or whatever, somebody will pick that up. It may not be just one, and that's the hard thing. It may not be that guy, then he'll pass it off to somebody else. And
every single theft since I've been here has been from an unlocked dorm door or an unlocked car door. 100% of them.
It's crimes of opportunity.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, Scott, we are down to about 2 minutes left in our show, and time has gone fast. You've given us a lot of wonderful information, and we certainly do appreciate it. I know it's very valuable to our students that are listening, but we didn't get everything on our list, so we're going to have you come back in the future and talk about the rest of on the list. But we got about 90 seconds. What would you like to leave us with in those last 90 seconds?
Real quick on drugs and alcohol. The thing I try not to do is, all of your parents and teachers and coaches have talked to these kids about why you shouldn't use drugs, and all of them know why. The thing I try to hit on is based on my state patrol experiences, if you're incapacitated on drugs or alcohol, you don't make good decisions. You don't make yourself aware of what's going on. You get yourself in. We talked a little bit about sexual assaults. 90% of sexual assaults on a college campus, one or both of the persons are intoxicated. You get yourself in a situation you can't get out of, or if you're the aggressor and you're drunk and you get yourself in a situation where the next day you're getting arrested, you just don't make good decisions. And 15 to 1,700 college kids a year die from alcohol-related incidents. They either drink too much and have alcohol poisoning, they get in a car and wreck, in a DUI wreck, or they fall off a balcony and stuff. So,
yeah, I try to give my classes all the speech of it's a dangerous world and be careful. you might be one of these people that I might lose out of class, and I lost one 2 years ago.
No, none of us wants that. That's what we're all here to prevent.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming in, and happy Law Enforcement Week. I'm
you.
Mike Thompson.
I'm Jason Winters.
I'm Patrick.
And Patrick's behind the camera. Thanks for watching.